Well, we're coming up to Easter 2026, and I just want to bring a message of hope from the Bible, a message of hope this Easter. When we look around the world at the moment, there's much reason for concern and despair. We see wars in Ukraine and conflict in Iran. There's much to be disturbed about, and many people, particularly many young people, look at the world and look to the future without a great deal of hope. Well, the Christian message is a message of hope, but it's important to realize that it's hope in the midst of chaos and darkness. You think of Christ and his ministry. Jesus is, we read in the scriptures, he's the eternal Son of God. He came to earth, and we see Christ as God's King, and we see his wonderful works. He calmed the storm, he raised the dead, he opened the eyes of the blind, but he was rejected. He was beaten, he was flogged, he was nailed to a cross of wood. When you look at that first event of the first Easter, you see so much seeming chaos and darkness and despair, and his disciples, their hopes were dashed. That Easter Saturday, it looked like evil had triumphed, and Jesus was laid in the tomb. It looked like the darkness had won. But on the third day, Jesus rose again from the dead. He rose from the dead, never to die again. He brought a message of hope and encouragement to his disciples that he is God's long promised Messiah. He is the King, and that those very events of the cross, when he died and suffered, that was part of God's plan, that through the cross, that God himself was reconciling the world to himself, that through the cross, forgiveness and life was available for all who turn to Jesus. We see in the cross that God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, so that whoever believes in him shouldn't perish, but should have eternal life. So the message of Easter is a message of hope, that Jesus is risen again from the grave, and it's a message that as believers we need to hear week by week. And at Gloucester we've been in Luke's Gospel, reading again and getting encouragement and strength from the Gospels. And we want to encourage you, if you're not a believer and never read a Gospel, to take up a Bible, take up a Gospel, and read about the life of Jesus Christ. Read of his death and his resurrection. And if you are a believer, but if sort of not going to a church and you're just concerned about what's going on in the world, we just really encourage you this Easter to come back and to consider afresh Jesus Christ and to put your hope in him. Thank you.